Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julia Janae, and we are watching the deadly daughter murder trial happening in Mississippi this afternoon. Prosecutors there say that 15-year-old Carly Gregg fatally shot her mother after claims that she was on the verge of discovering her daughter's secret life, filled with drug use and burner phones. The state also says that to kill her stepfather before fleeing the scene. And right now, the jury is on a break while the attorneys make some arguments outside their presence before the judge regarding an alleged discovery violation by the prosecution. Let's go into court.
While we were out upstairs and grabbed a copy of our external hard drive that had the phone extractions on them. We opened that extraction. It was dated April the 30th. It included Bennett Germany's cell phone. We found the messages that Ms. Todd showed the court are in fact on that external hard drive found within the phone extraction that was turned over to them on June the 4th. Ms. Todd is currently in the process. She initially told me she did not have Cellbrite on that file. I showed her on her jump drive where she had it, and she's currently in the process of opening up Bennett Germany's cell phone extraction that was produced on June the 4th.
Your Honor, I have it open right now if I can respond.
All right.
Okay.
Hold on, time out. Where's the stuff you wanted to mark for ID? Is there any further response from the state?
Well, Your Honor, the fact that the witness took the stand already.
Okay. So let's finish up the response.
Yeah, Your Honor.
Again, motion, response, reply, I rule. Okay?
Yes, sir. Your Honor, they were provided the information. This witness has taken the stand already. He could have been asked anything that they wanted to about these text messages. Their motion was that it was exculpatory and that it wasn't turned over. In fact, it was turned over. Your Honor, I don't know any other way to say that they have it.
Okay. All right, you can be seated. Reply by the defense.
Yes, Your Honor. If you will recall at our hearing on June 4th of 2023, which I have a transcript of, at that day, this court told the defense the state to provide all discovery to the state by 5 o'clock that day. The court then asked me if I, in fact, on page 65 of that, 66 of that transcript, the court says, Ms. Todd, do you have an external hard drive you can turn over to the state? And I said, yes, Your Honor, I do. And it said, you owe that to them by 4 o'clock today. And at that point, Your Honor, I did provide an external hard drive to the state before 4 p.m. that day. The state, I think Catherine was just a little mistaken when she said the state gave me these files in digital on the thumb drive. They weren't on the thumb drive. They were on a hard drive, and on the hard drive it contained specific screenshots from March 19th with Bennett, and then in a different section of it, it contained like a summary on the external hard drive of, like, sort of looks like this, of text messages. They're not in chronological order. There doesn't really even seem to be a date order, but I did type in one of the words from Bennett's text message that I gave you on March 28th, which was zoned out, and it's not pulling anything up.
Your permission to assist her?
Do you know how to use the Cellbrite extraction? Do you know how to use the Cellbrite tool, Ms. Todd?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you've looked for it in the reader.
Yes, in fact, it even says here, select the current words, and when Ms. Newman typed it in on her computer, she typed in zone, and it pulled up that particular text message, but it's not pulling it up on this one.
Or maybe assist her and see if it's in fact on her file.
Sure.
It's there, Your Honor.
Did you find it, Ms. Todd?
Yes, Your Honor, I did provide it.
So you did in fact receive it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Tom will say this. When you accuse a prosecutor of a Brady violation, if she had in fact committed a Brady violation, she should be terminated. That's a very serious allegation. Now, as far as Brady versus Maryland, this is the court's ruling. First, the court finds that the defendant did receive it. As such, there is no Brady violation. Second of all, the first prong is that the state possessed evidence favorable to the defendant, including impeachment evidence. In fact, what I've read in this does contain impeachment evidence, but it impeaches Mr. Bennett Germany and your client. This talks about drug usage back to November of 2023, when their testimony is she didn't begin using drugs in any form till January. Second, that the defendant does not possess the evidence, nor could she obtain it with any reasonable diligence. As this court, in fact, the defendant did have it, and obtaining it with any reasonable diligence, as I recall, Mr. Bennett Germany testified that he was her best friend and that he got on a bike and rode several miles to come see her on the day she said she needed help. I think Mr. Bennett Germany has been more than available to Mr. Gregg. Third prong is that the prosecution suppressed the favorable evidence. In fact, they turned it over. And finally, that had the evidence been disclosed to the defense, a reasonable probability exists that the outcome of the proceedings would have been different. If I'm being frank, this reads more like she has some crush on some boy named Anthony, and there's a talk of a whole bunch of use of taking drugs and sleeping pills. I don't see where that would create a reasonable probability of a different outcome. And finally, the court would note that the state has no duty to search out and discover all possible exculpatory evidence. For those reasons, the motion to dismiss the case for a Brady violation will be denied. All right. I'm gonna give these back to the court reporter. All right, anything further from the state before we bring in the jury?
No, sir.
From the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, bring it in.
Judge Arthur denying that defense motion. It's understandable, a bit embarrassing for this defense. Let's bring back in federal trial attorney Alexis Rosenberg, who is analyzing this case for us. Your thoughts on what just happened there? I mean, that's a difficult position for the defense to be in. Luckily, not in front of the jury, but still.
Wow, I agree. Totally embarrassing. I mean, she really needed to make sure that that wasn't in there. She needed to have somebody else double check that that wasn't in there. And the judge is definitely not happy that this motion was filed. And like I said before, a Brady violation is a very serious accusation.
Yeah, you did mention that, and the judge even emphasizing that you could cost someone their job if you do this, and if it had been discovered that it was a Brady violation. So always be careful. We are going to get to our break, but we have another witness that is coming on the stand. It's another state rebuttal witness, and it could be the last witness of the state's case, meaning we're getting closer and closer to closing arguments. Stay with us.